So the American government treated Khalid Sheikh Mohammed rather poorly. Now, it's very fair to say he had it coming. Now, we're supposed to be better than them, so I wish we hadn't done this, but at least in this case, it was the right guy. You know, I often talk about the people who were slated for release in Guantanamo because they're not guilty. Well, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, to the best of our knowledge, was the guy who planned 9/11. Now, remember, bin Laden is the money guy, and he's the overall leader, but it appears that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is the one that organized, planned, and executed what happened on 9/11. So, we took him to several secret CIA prisons, one in Poland, one in Romania, etc. And we did horrific things to him. First of all, we didn't let him sleep for 180 hours straight, which is literally unimaginable. I don't know how he survived that, but he did. That's, of course, considered torture by every definition. And I know he did 9/11, so people will say, oh, he couldn't sleep. Well, look, again, we're supposed to be better than that, right? And they waterboarded him, which again, by all international and American standards, was torture and is torture. Bush and Cheney just decided to break the law. But they didn't waterboard him once or twice. They waterboarded him 183 times. Now, if waterboarding worked, you might have think that the first 182 might have gotten what you wanted. Apparently, it doesn't work very well if you've got to do it 183 times. So now at the end of all this, after they got all the information they could out of him, which, by the way, was pretty much nothing. They couldn't get any information out of him despite all the torture. They decided, okay, fine, we squeeze this guy for as much as we can. Now we've got to keep him sane so that when we bring him to trial, when we bring him to court, he hasn't lost his mind and then present a problem in that sense. That at that point we can convict him. Now, this is a real legitimate issue because the two other guys that we did significant torture on, and there were many that we did torture on, but these were real high-level al-Qaeda leaders, tremendous amount of waterboarding, etc., to Ramzi bin al-Shibh and Abd al-Nashiri. Al-Nashiri suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder and depression, apparently, and bin al-Shibh is being treated for schizophrenia and apparently is heavily medicated right now. But believe it or not, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was the one guy that got this extreme treatment who did not lose his mind. Now, how? Here's the fascinating part of the story, and hence the graphic you're looking at. Well, it turns out Khalid Sheikh Mohammed said, look, I'm a mechanical engineer. Can you do me a solid and let me design a vacuum cleaner? And the CIA, believe it or not, said, yes, we can do that. I would have thought there's no way in the world they would allow that. So, oh yeah, no, trust me, it's a vacuum cleaner. Give me some more parts. Right? Now look, apparently he's just doing the schematics. It's not clear that the vacuum cleaner exists anywhere at this point. But let me quote here an article that explained from Talking Point's memo why the CIA allowed this. Quote, by the CIA's own account, the program's methods were designed to psychologically dislocate people. But once interrogation stopped, the agency had to try to undo the psychological damage inflicted on the detainees. Is that what America's for? We're supposed to psychologically dislocate people? And some of them will get back and some of them we won't. You know that with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, they would make him do quote unquote homework. And if he did his homework right, as he was chained to the ground, they would give him a Snickers bar. I mean, look, with all the force feeding in Guantanamo and holding people down and stuffing things down their throats, holding them down and drowning them a little bit, chaining them to the floor, stripping them naked, and then if they do anything right, you give them a treat and then they eat it. I mean, what have we become? So I can't stand Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. He led to the death of approximately 3,000 Americans. I was incredibly happy that we caught him. But we're not supposed to stoop to his level. So, but apparently the one thing we allowed him to do was build a vacuum cleaner. I mean, what a random thing. But that was only because we thought he might go completely insane like the other detainees did after all the things that we did to him. And in fact, the people that are familiar with him, they say he's exceptionally intelligent. These are our own interrogators and experts. And they say not only would he, if he had access to the materials in prison, have likely gotten a PhD in mechanical engineering, but that he might have invented some patents. Isn't that amazing? So anyway, he puts the vacuum cleaner together, and he finally turns it on, and you know what happens? This happens. All right, we're just playing, okay? Just bring it down. Of course, that didn't happen, and like I said originally, we're not even sure the vacuum cleaner was built. And when you ask the CIA, hey, can we see the schematics for that vacuum cleaner? They say that is top secret. So, well, look, he is set to be tried, so we might actually hear from Khalid Sheikh Mohammed himself, and we'll see what the government did to him.